The assessment tool that I used for this assignment was Plickers. In order to use Plickers, you have to go to plickers.com. Once you go to plickers.com, you need to sign up and create an account if you don't already have one. And so you would click the sign up button over here. Then you can either sign up manually by typing in each individual box, or you can also sign up with Google if your computer's set up that way. So in order to sign in, I'm going to sign in with Google since I already have it and I'm not good at remembering my passwords. I'll sign in with my school account. Then it'll bring you to your main page. Once you get into the main page, you have your library, which is where you will create your questions. Then you have reports, which will tell you the answers or give you a live report of each individual class. Then you have your classes, where you'll create your class lists. And then you have live view, and live view allows your class to view them live. And so we're going to go back to the library and talk about creating new questions. So in order to create your assessments or your cognitive questions, you would go to new question, and in new question you would type in the question that you want to do, or your check for understanding, and you can either make it a multiple choice or a true-false question. With true-false, it'll be there, and then you would mark the correct answer according to the letter box. And the same thing with multiple choice. There again. Then you would save it, and when you save it, it would then come into your library here, just as you see here. Now the next thing you'd like to do is go create your classes. So you go to the classes tab right here. Then you go to add new class, and in that then you would add a new class. So from my school we have ACE days, so I would do ACE period 8. And then you select the grade level and then also the subject, and then you can choose a color for that class. Then you would save it. When you save it, it'll then be added to your classes page, and then from there you're able to add students into the actual class here, and then assign a Plicker number. So for example, if I was going to add a student, I could enter it and then it automatically assigns a Plicker to each individual student, or also if you add it by the roster, it then continues to add each individual a Plicker to each individual student. So from there, once you have your class list all complete, you'd go back to your classes and you'll see that your students have been entered in by the number right there. Then you'll go back to your library. And so how you actually add these questions to your classes is by selecting the class that you want the question to go to. And then from there you will click on expand. And then after you expand it, you will click on add to queue, and then you will go down and select the class that you want your question to go over to. And so then you can do that for every single one. And it quickly just brings it over to there. I added 2 there. As you can see. So it's pretty easy to do that. Once you've added all the questions to the queue, they'll now be in there for your use during your class time. Now, in order to get the Plickers for your students, you can go to cards over here and click on cards, and then you are actually able to get Plickers for free, and they come in all different sizes and fonts. And so the ones that I used were just the standard size Plicker. It's relatively big, and so as you can see here, here is the number for each Plicker, and that number is assigned to a student. And then if it's a multiple choice or a true false, you would use for true false A, B, and for the multiple choice you would use any of the four letters. And so how you answer the question is you would have the student turn the correct answer to the top here, just as you see here. B is at the top, so if that was the answer to the question, that's how the students would have to turn their Plicker in order to answer the question correctly. And so in order to scan the students' answers, which you can scan all their answers at once, you have to download the Plickers app onto your mobile device, either your phone or your iPad, and then you're allowed to scan all the students' answers all at once, and it makes for a quick, easy assessment. Now, how I have it is I have the students turn their Plickers. They have magnets on the back, and they turn their Plicker to the answer, and so that it's on the board, and then I just scan the board because I use it as a bell ringer activity for when the students come out and are waiting for the rest of their classmates to change for class. They do this while they're waiting, and that way they don't have to sit there and wait. They can go right into their instant activity that's also posted on the board if the students have not all gotten out from the locker room yet. So now that you have your questions in your class queue, I'm putting in the demo class just for an example. You would then go to your mobile device, and you would have, say, how I would do it is I have the question written out on the board, and then the students will then read the question and turn their Plicker to the answer that they feel is correct. And then from there, all I would do is take my phone, and immediately it gives you instant feedback of how many students got the answer correct. So for example, I used the demo class, I put in some answers, and then you can click on go over to reports, and it gives you your answers for your demo class. And so you can see here, the first question, 80% of the students got it right, with one student getting it wrong. All students got this question correct. All students got, or 4 students got this question correct, so 80% were correct. 100% were correct on this one, and then only 2 got it correct on this one. And so that gives you instant feedback also on how you can adjust your lesson, or also go over things that you might need to reinforce, or just review that you had done previously in class already. And then you can talk about it and go over the questions with your students, and then also in the activity just reinforce these types of things that you are looking for in your questions and your feedback. And then also the students can see their feedback as well, and see if they got their answers correct or how well the class did as a whole. I really enjoyed Plickers. I feel like it's an awesome tool to use for cognitive assessment to see where your students are at. And then also to use it for quizzes if you want to during your classes. I think that it can be used for that also. I just know I really enjoyed it. I know my students really enjoyed it, and I'm going to continue using it throughout the rest of the school year because it's the most effective way, I feel, to do bell ringers, and you're not having so much paper and having to read so much, but now you're able to get instant feedback, and you're able to adjust your future lessons, but also your lesson for that day, to cover some of the material that you previously covered, but the kids obviously didn't understand it the way you felt that they did. So I felt it was really, really an awesome tool to use to gain understanding of where the kids are at, and then also give the students instant feedback for themselves to know where their understanding is at of the questions that were being asked.